welcome to SD TV show. Today we have a great honor and pleasure to interview the Honorable Mayor of Pearland.
Yes, very glad today the Pearland Mayor Kevin Cole and my TV co-host Danny with me here. 非常感谢大家观看最新一期的子天访谈录 SD Talk Show. This is Sky.
Thank you, Sky. We'll get right into it. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for having us and especially taking the time to show us a tour at City Hall.
Yeah, so we have a lot of different, I think outside of the city of Houston, us and Sugar Land always get in an arm wrestle on who has the most diverse city, and I'll tell Mayor Zimmerman that we have the more diverse city, and and we'll claim those bragging rights and those types of, but it's an incredible city.
Yes.
I've lived here for about 43 years, and the city that I moved to 43 years ago versus today is just night and day different. And I tell people, even back during our campaign,
Yes.
that the diversity is an asset.
Right.
It's a tremendous, humongous asset
Yes.
that our city has. We have people from all over the world that call Pearland home. We have people from all over the United States that call Pearland home. And it is incumbent upon me as a leader and our council as leaders to draw on that experience, draw on that know-how, draw on that knowledge.
Right.
We don't have to tackle all the issues and know it all. We have a tremendous base of people that can give us direction, that can give us feedback, and we need to listen to it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, such a great leader with wisdoms. I mean, you know how to utilize the resources that people bring into the city from everywhere. The evidence of such a highly cultural city speak by itself.
Right.
On the way coming over here, as we drove by, as we're driving by 518, you clearly, Sky, you see a lot of different ethnic restaurants, Japanese, Vietnamese, Indian. I mean, you see like a small world.
It's all here.
How did you happen to invite them coming over here? By the way, let's get back up a little bit.
Yeah.
How has it been as a brand new mayor? How has life been?
I want to congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. I immersed into the role immediately. So upon taking the oath back in November, I was here every day. I've been a lot of meetings, getting to know all of the staff, the different departments. Even though I've been a part of the city over the years, just really immersing into the role was something I felt important. I'm following a legacy mayor. I'm following Mayor Tom Reed is well known around the region, let alone in our state, and he's here every day as a fixture, right? And I thought it was important that staff knew that I'm available.
Yes.
Staff knows that I'm engaged, and staff knows that I'm here to help and be a resource, not just a guy that pops in here or there and goes on about my way. I have my own business, but I'm here pretty much every day. I'm not here all day, but I'm here every day doing something. Okay, and I think that's important. So, in how has it been done? I wanted to immerse into it. That way, I'm up to speed, and I've got my legs under me, and I'm ready to run. As opposed to struggling to get into the role. I felt it was easier to immerse into it.
Plus, you're not new to City Hall.
No.
Remember that you had served for 8 years as City Council. You were sitting right here.
Correct.
You've seen the transformations.
Right.
So it seemed to me this is continuations of leadership.
It is, and it's neat because I served 3 years all the way back, 25 years ago now.
Right.
So in the mid-90s. It's hard to even say that.
When Sky was not even born, right?
Exactly. So to watch the transformation of a city, when I first got elected in '95 to where we are now. But the neat thing is some of the things that we did even back in the early to mid to late '90s to set the course for where we are now. The development track that we were on. I remember. Little known story, I was on the Planning and Zoning Commission, who sits here, served on Planning and Zoning Commission, and one day I said, why aren't we planning more? our title, planning and zoning, when are we going to plan? And challenge staff to plan more. And I said, when are we going to, like, we need to annex down 518 and get some of this under the control of the city so we can be proud of what, you know, ultimately comes in. So I was able to actually vote on an annexation recommendation as a planning and zoning commissioner. Got elected in May of 1995. And then voted on that same annexation as a council member.
Interesting.
As an example. And so those are some things that we did all the way back even 25 years ago, charting our course to where we are now.
You know, a lot of people claim to be effective as a leader, but they don't have that advantage of having a background.
Right.
But earlier you said a word which I love so much, transformation.
Right.
And you know, I remember I came in 1984. Pearland used to be nothing.
Right.
And you know, look at you know, Sky. If you travel through 518, literally with cornfield with nothing in it.
Right.
But now, 5 decades later, I mean, how did you see the principle? I think things changed.
Right.
People said methodology changed, but the principle remained the same.
Right.
What do you think about that?
Well, you know, our city has grown up because of access, because of transportation, because of, in real estate. Danny, you're a real estate developer.
You are too.
Location, location,
Yes,
location.
Yes.
If you have all of the location points taken care of, you're destined for success in business, right? In the real estate business. So you look at Pearland, and a lot of people will say 288 made Pearland grow. But it wasn't 288. 288 has been out there for years and years and years and years. Okay? It actually, back in 1983, you had 2 lanes of 288 out here. In 1996, when they completed the southern portion of the Beltway, you can go back and look at our single-family building permits, and they did this. Immediately after the completion of the Beltway, you saw our single-family building permits ramping up. So what it was, at that point in time, you could go north or south, or you could go east and west from Pearland, anywhere in the region, and be there. Back in those days, you could be anywhere in 30 minutes.
That is awesome.
Okay? And so that made Pearland grow up overnight. We've had to harness some of this growth. I think there was points in time where we grew so fast that we couldn't keep up with it. But all in all, I think we've managed it fairly well. We have growing pains, we still do today, but now on the other end of it, we're still a high growth or a fast growth city. We're just not hyper growth. We've been a hyper growth. If you go back and look at the last 10 years, we've grown, you know, by 31% in the last 10 years.
It's the second farthest city grew up in Texas. It's a third largest city in Houston
in the metro area. Right. It's going to be interesting to see the census numbers here in the next few months, to see exactly where we land in the state and in the region and all of those kind of things. But we're not finished growing. We're just going to, the growth is going to slow down. It's going to seem like we're not growing because we've been used to these fast pace. But it'll give us an opportunity to catch our breath. We still want to do things with high quality, do it the right way. You know, we're going to do it the Pearland way. We're going to be Pearland. We're not going to be Pasadena. We're not going to be Sugarland. We're not going to be Houston or Katy. We're going to be Pearland. You know, and we're going to chart our course. Every other city can chart their course, and I'm proud of that. But we're a large city now, and I guess in the grand scheme of things, we're classified as a mid-sized city. You know, but just to think, like I said, in 1995 when I got elected, you know, back in those years, I think we had 20. Maybe, I think in 1990 we had like 19,000. So we were around 25,000 when I got elected in 95 to where we have in the city now probably 130. So we've added 100,000 people in like 20 years. So imagine, just think about, you know, picking up a city and planting it here, you know, over that amount of time. It's like Houston. Houston's going to grow by 4 million people over the next 25 years. And I'll tell your viewers, what does that look like? What does that mean? What does it look like?
So basically, you have the projection, population projection, how far.
Right.
Do you have like a comprehensive plan that you project?
So our region needs a comprehensive plan, right?
Yeah.
So the city of Pearland has a comprehensive plan. We update it every 5 years. We're in the process of about to update our own comprehensive.
What is your
plan.
projected population growth?
Well, it's probably around 225,000.
Wow.
Okay. So imagine the region, 4 million people. A lot of people can't get their head around 4 million, right? That's a big number.
Right.
The city of Los Angeles proper
Yeah.
is 4 million
Density,
people.
yeah.
Picking Los Angeles up and setting it here. Are we ready as a region for 4 million people over the next 25 years?
Right.
So that gives you something to think about as our city grows. Now, it's not overnight.
Yeah.
It's not in 1 year, but over the next 25 years. So as a developer, I mean, you know what that means.
Right.
And so City of Houston and their Houston region is just going to continue to grow this way.
Right.
Okay, I think we're going to have some urban growth, but I think we're going to continue. The Grand Parkway gives us that opportunity.
Yes.
The Beltway gave us that opportunity. What, are we going to be the first city in the world to have 3 loops? I mean, think about that.
Yeah. Wow.
That's a pretty, when you think about it, first in the world to have 3 loops, the Grand Parkway.
So is that a part of the infrastructure plan?
Sure. And so we're inside that. So we're against the Beltway,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We have the Grand Parkway to our south and around us. So
Right.
now we'll be inside. And to that end,
Yeah.
288, we just opened the new toll lanes for 288 back in December.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
so that project out there, you can be, on our west end of town, hitting that new project and be in the medical center now, probably 20 or 25 minutes faster as a result of that project being open.
Right.
And so, again, that's a lifeblood. So back in the campaign, I used to talk about why is that important to us? Well, 288,
Mobility.
just like we all have a heart, we all have arteries, and we have blood arteries.
Yeah.
If you clog up an artery, what happens? You risk
Congested,
killing the
yes.
heart. You risk killing yourself.
Yeah.
If we clog up our arteries and it's not open, you're gonna kill your economic engine. So now we have a hard enough time with COVID and things closed and people down and Amazon and those types of things where it makes it convenient for people. I want to make sure that those service restaurants, retail and those types of things still thrive. We've got to have them.
Right. Yes, I know that you're heavily involved in the Greater 288
Partnership.
And
Yeah, Greater
you also
288
get involved with the Chamber of Commerce and
Right.
Parent. How does that support the small business owners?
Well, so go back to the Greater 288 Partnership. We were an advocacy group that did nothing but help push and champion 288 and get it actually moving forward as a project.
Right.
Now, once Brazoria County and TxDOT got involved and are now built it, I mean, when they got involved and went under construction,
Right.
the partnership's role, we didn't have a role anymore. They're now moving forward and doing the project and have done that project. Chamber of Commerce, that is a partnership in the city, between us and the city, that is integral. It's
Right.
important
Yeah.
because the city will never be fully dependent on large business, can't be fully dependent on small business. It's got to be a blend of both.
Right.
And while the city takes care of city-related things, Chamber of Commerce is that voice of business. So they're the ones that are out there listening to those business owners and giving us feedback and interfacing. So Chamber of Commerce is important in the business community because it's the voice. You hear our Chamber CEO all the time. The Chamber is the voice of business.
Right.
We're the voice of the city.
Right.
They're the voice of business.
Right.
And 288 Partnership, we were the voice of 288.
Right.
So
it's give that synergy, if you will.
exactly.
Yes. On the talking about pro-development and supporting small businesses, So you are small business owners.
Right.
You are a developer.
Right.
So you understand the challenges and difficulties of small business.
Right.
So as a new leader, man,
Yeah.
what is it that you do differently that it show the business community that we have a new mayor who is welcome development?
You have to be there for them.
Okay.
You have to listen to them,
Okay.
but you also have to act.
Okay.
But you also have to act. I can sit here and listen to you all day long, Danny.
To talk. Yes.
But if I don't go over here and act, it's just empty talk.
You are everywhere.
So you have to act.
Yes.
I've already had conversations with permitting. I will say this: our community development department,
Yes.
where permitting and everything goes through, they've really in the last year or so put a lot of metrics in place to shorten their permit time, to do the things the right way,
Wow.
to get permits on the ground. Do they get it 100% of the time? No, because nobody does.
That's small
Okay?
improvement.
There's always going to be challenges in getting certain permits out.
Right.
But I will say today, 90% of their permits are done within the amount of time that it's supposed to be.
Yes.
Well, I've told them with our communications department, we need to tell people that. I want to be a mayor that's known in the Houston area for having, if you want to open a business, you bring it here. Why? Speed to market. I want your business open, and we can do that in Pearland faster than anybody else in town. Now, I can say that, but I have to follow through and make it happen.
Yes.
Yeah.
You got to be able to back it up.
Yeah.
And so
Action.
that's where I want to go. The vision I have is bring it here. We'll do what we have to do, and let's get your business up and going. Because if you have people, when you put money out there, right? When you're investing capital,
Right.
I want that capital invested as soon as it
Yeah.
possibly can. At the same time, I want their cash register open.
Yes.
I understand what going through the permitting process means.
Yes.
And getting to the other end. I know that in my own business.
Yes.
So I certainly understand it, be it a large or small business. It's important that we get through that phase so they can get their project underway or get their store open or get their restaurant going. Or I don't care if it's a small martial arts studio.
Right.
That's their capital.
Yeah. That's
That's their life
Thank you.
savings
Thank you.
that they're putting at risk.
Thank you.
And so obviously we have rules, we have regulations, we have certain things we have to work through.
Right. Of course.
But so it's incumbent upon us to make sure that we're telling those rules up front so people understand it.
Yes.
But at the same time, attention that it's not just pushing paper. You're dealing with somebody's nest egg. You're dealing with somebody's life savings.
Yes.
I mean, once you get that, you understand it, then it's a seed change in how permitting and everything else looks. And I think we have a great team here.
Yeah.
They see it, but you also asked, how do you do it? It can't just be me saying it. I have to push that down through the organization, right?
Lead by action.
It's got to be not just me, because I'm not the one that's issuing permits.
Yeah.
But I've got to push that through the
Right.
organization,
Understand.
even to the person who's intaking it understands. Let's get this permit through.
Right.
Right.
We have a few minutes left,
Sure.
Sky, and
Yes.
I want to give you some time to ask a few questions. But let me ask you this: you, unlike some other leader who passively just sit back and wait for the city to grow.
Right.
And I know that I've known you for like at least 2 decades.
Right.
I mean, I've seen you everywhere.
Yeah.
So you seem to have the personality of a go-getter. I mean, the reason that you're involved in that 288 because you want to put together developers and all that. So what is your plan? We have people from everywhere. Hopefully, after this craziness of the COVID, people around the world will be coming.
Right.
So what is your plan of encouraging them, good people who come and be an asset to the city?
Well, at the end of the day, Danny, we want to continue some of the efforts that we've been involved in for 2 decades, and
Yes.
that is, we want to be the place that you can open your business. And again, I don't care if it's a small business or a large mega corporation.
Right.
We want you here. I've been rehearsing and going through what my state of the city address is going to be here in another month. Okay, and
Is that going to be virtual or in person?
both. So it's going to be both.
Okay.
We have a it's a Chamber of Commerce luncheon.
Make sure we
So
sign up. Okay. Make sure we'll be there. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be about half the room that it normally is. Just
Okay.
we want to socially distance.
Sure.
But I've asked communications to carry it live, not just after the fact. So I want it live as
Why
well
not
as
both?
in person.
Yeah.
And the title of it is it's basically a city in transformation. Okay, a city in transition.
I love that word.
We're transitioning from a mayor who's been here for 40 years. We've got a Chamber of Commerce who's transitioning to a new CEO,
Right.
to a new mayor, right?
Yes.
And as a result, you know, the city of Pearland and Tom Reed always said, we're a destination city. I want to be a destination city. Well, I think we've gotten a lot of people destined to be here. That's happened.
Yeah.
Well, now I think we need to turn the course and be a city that's truly self-sufficient. Okay? Now, I'm not naive and to know that our proximity to Houston
It takes some time. Yeah.
gives, I mean,
You have competitors. I know.
we will always be tethered
Yeah.
to Houston. I mean, we always will, because our roads and everything
Yeah.
else.
Right.
But I want to be self-sufficient where we can and not be dependent on Houston or Missouri County or Fort Bend County or Galveston. I want to be dependent on us. I want to be in control of our destiny and not be dependent on someone else.
Right.
Now, that's not going to be the case in everything,
Takes
but
some
where
time.
we can,
Right.
that's where I want to be. If I can give, and I want to continue to bring business here locally. I think I've told you this before, and that is the biggest quality of life, the single biggest quality of life that I could give somebody or help somebody with is a job locally as opposed to having to travel into Houston or part of the region. If I can cut their commute to 15 minutes, not 45, I've just given somebody back an hour a day, 30 minutes on both ends. That's over 250 hours a year that I've given them back to their life, right? What can they do with that? What does that mean for
More
their
time
family?
with family,
What does that mean?
productive time.
Yeah, what does that mean for possibly opening their own small business?
Yeah.
What does that mean for, quality of life? They could be, in the community,
Yeah.
volunteering. What does that mean
Right.
to our city?
Right.
Okay? Now, I'm not naive to know that
Understand.
there will always
Your
be
vision
people,
and your
in the
determination.
med center, downtown, financial districts, and those types of things. But if more and more people can live here and work here,
Yeah.
how much better off our community is as a result of that.
Right.
Yeah.
I think you talk a lot about the peerless city
Right.
business. I think our audience really also want to know mayor's personal life.
Okay, well, I'll
That's
let
an
you ask a
interesting
personal,
part.
not too personal, okay?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, let me ask.
Yeah. So I know you've been a city council for Pearland many years.
Mhm.
So what bring you in to the role for the city council? Then you want to run for the mayor.
Right. The reason for running for council way back when, I think it's ultimately a calling on someone's life to be where they are. So I think there's some kind of a destiny to be a part of that. So you have to listen to me. I'm very spiritual, and I think God destines us to be in certain roles and certain places of leadership. So I think that was the case for city council. A lot of people ask me, why do you want to be mayor? Why don't you go back to council?
Yeah.
And it being mayor, you have the opportunity to lead. You have an opportunity to lead a city. You have the opportunity to showcase, what I am passionate about and lead not only an organization like the city of Pearland, but ultimately citizens, right?
Yeah.
And it's a different challenge. Quite honestly, following a legacy mayor like Tom Reed, it's a risk. It's a risk to the guy that's following him because his shoes are this big
Yeah.
and you'll never fit in his shoes. But I take that as a challenge. And Danny, you're right. I've never been known to just sitting quiet. Never have I. And when I see something that needs to be done, I just go do it.
Personality.
And just as
Is it who you are?
It's the developer in me
You
that
are.
just goes and does,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so it's the same way. I can't think of anyone else. That's the reason why I ran.
I said, vote for me.
I can't think of anyone else in the position, even though we had good opposition and good men that were running for the position, people that I respect. But I can't think of anybody else for this position. All of my family, my children have 4 kids, 8 grandkids, and 2 more on the way.
Did you hear that?
Wow.
8 grandkids.
8 grandkids, and they all live within 4 miles of our house.
That's why you have a lot of the votes.
Right. Right. But I'll say this, and we said this back in the campaign, and a lot of people, I guess, maybe didn't know this ahead of time or going into it. But again, I've been here 43. Later this year, it'll be 44 years. My wife was born and raised here.
Oh.
So while I wasn't born here, I did the next best thing, and I married one. Right. So that's kind of that's smart, right?
Right.
So we have deep roots into the community.
Right.
And now my kids have roots in the community, and so that was on showcase in the campaign. It wasn't necessarily something that we by design, but it was something that you saw play out through all of my kids through school and activities, and they all had their sphere of influence, and and so it was amazing to see people come up that maybe I hadn't seen. I saw high school classmates that I hadn't seen probably since high school.
Wow.
Come up to vote, come over to say hi. And they said they weren't missing it.
Well, this is your hometown.
Yeah.
This is your hometown.
They weren't missing it.
Yeah, all your family.
So there's a connection to the community, deep connection to the community. There's people out there in our community that are just as connected and just as deep rooted in the community.
Right.
I just happen to be on the ballot, and I think I've got the wherewithal to do the job, or I wouldn't have signed up for it. But I also think I've got the passion to represent our city. Not just represent it within the confines and within the city limits, but in our region.
Yes.
Our Mayor Reed has done a tremendous job over decades representing us to the region, and I want to have that same favor out in the region representing our community. You can tell from the passion that I love Pearland.
Yeah.
I love our people. I love anybody and everybody that calls Pearland home. I said this early in our campaign. I don't care if you've lived here 5 days or 50 years. If you call Pearland home, you're a Pearlander. And it's my job to represent you.
Yeah, I like you talk the way.
Yeah.
And what's the key for the succeed? Also during the COVID, we have so many business owner, the business really down. Can you give some suggestion?
Hopefully we can turn the corner now that the vaccines are rolling out. I told somebody earlier today, a year ago, the light at the end of the tunnel was like the head of a pin. It was tiny. Well, now the light at the end of the tunnel is right here. We're still in the tunnel.
Yeah.
Okay. The light is here now, and it's just going to get bigger. I think in the next 2 months, as we get through the end of March, you'll see the vaccine really ramping up in full force. And so that's a good thing. So a small business owner, hang in there. Do what you can to hang on to what you got. Be creative. How many places, restaurants, retooled everything they do, went from a sit-down restaurant to takeout only. Some of them went and invested and had their own, Meals on Wheels. They had their own trucks and food trucks and trailers and stuff, and they went out into the neighborhoods and they just got creative. They adapted and they got creative. And so my advice to most business owners, if you're dependent on that public traffic, to be creative, find your niche, but most importantly, hang on, because I think mid-year we'll really start seeing that herd immunity. Hopefully, get rid of these, and turn this corner and literally leave this stuff behind us, and let's move on with life.
Yeah. Really appreciate you here with me and Danny.
Yes. And before we leave, would you like to have final words with the audience?
Yeah, all I can say is, come give Pearland a try. We're a city that is a completely diverse city from east to west. Very young city still. I think our average age
It's only
is around-
1894.
Yeah, it's only 1894, but we're young in heart. I think our average age is mid-30s.
Right.
But most importantly, if you're looking to plant your life or plant your business or plant a flag, if you will, come to Pearland. We're open arm. You can just drive up and down the neighborhoods and you can see we're an open arm and ready to embrace you if you're willing to come and plant your flag.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Final word?
Yeah.
Thank you, man.
Thank
We
you, Kevin.
appreciate it.
Thank you.